Assalamu alaikum and hello to everyone watching. Welcome back to accidentalmuslims.com. Today we have with us members from Ansarul. So we have Saajida and Mariyam. Welcome. And Amir, Alika,
Assalamu
and Khalil behind the camera. Okay, so we're going to get straight into it. Thank you for being here, firstly. And yeah, let's get right into it. So before we get into the two of you, or exactly, what is Ansarul Mu'min?
Yes. So, Alhamdulillah, Allah SWT has blessed us with the opportunity of being able to assist new Muslims. So basically, from a social perspective, we would like to assist new Muslims in terms of helping them integrate into the Muslim community from a social perspective, and basically also giving them mentorship, friendship, all of those things. So that is almost the aim and objective, more or less, of Ansarul Mu'min.
Okay.
I think it's important to note that we don't use the term new Muslims now. We're trying to stay from the word rebirths. A lot of new Muslims come into Islam and everyone makes a big hype about them at the beginning and they're excited for them, and then the Muslim community tends to forget about them and they don't get the guidance that they need. So with our aim also is to ensure that they're actually integrated properly into the Muslim community. They get, they make new friends, they have that support continuously.
So is it for the focus on rebirths or is it just a general?
The focus is on rebirths.
Okay, cool.
So tell us about the name. How did you guys choose Ansarul Mu'min?
Okay, so the meaning of the name means the helper or the helpers of al-mu'min, which is the one who grants iman. So there was a little bit confusion about the meaning, but we stick to that one, that we are the helpers of the one who grants iman. So Allah guides and we help the ones whom Allah guides.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about you guys, like your background, how you got into this, and why, what's the reasoning behind actually being part of an organization like this?
I think from an Islamic perspective, I think it's important for all Muslims to have some kind of footing or hold on socially engaging and socially supporting some organization. I think from a perspective of being a Muslim, it's important for us to be the changers, us to be the individuals that initiate processes that make life more functional. And in that sense, us, that is the committee of Ansarul Mu'min, came together, alhamdulillah, and we wanted to initiate change. And we had this amazing opportunity where the NGC opened up the doors to us, alhamdulillah, and they offered us the service of filtering new Muslims to us and giving us access to whatever venues we need, resources we need, alhamdulillah. So from that perspective, we are extremely lucky that we have their support, number one, but also their backing in terms of them understanding that this is actually a need, and us trying to fulfill that need, inshallah.
Okay. So how did this become an interest of the two of you?
I think for me, coming from a student background, there are lots of students that were on campus that would learn about Islam for the first time, and they would then actually become Muslim, but then you would actually maybe just see them for the first month or two. You would speak to them, you would try and guide them, you would say, what do you need? How is your learning going? Are you learning about Salah? Are you learning about Quran? And then they would also just tend to get lost and you would also just lose contact with them. So I think it became an interest of me to actually keep in contact with these people, because it's happened to me before where I have, get into contact with a girl, for instance, that I knew she became Muslim, and then you see them tend to deteriorate and then come back and deteriorate and come back, which is normal also for each person going through a new experience, but you don't follow up with them as well.
Okay. Okay, so now about the two of you, because I know both of you probably don't want to speak about yourselves, but tell us a little bit about each of who you are. What led you to this? About your backgrounds and things like that.
With me, alhamdulillah, my father is a Muslim. I don't know how long that lasts though, because that's been for 35 years. So alhamdulillah. So that is one of the main motivating factors. Another motivating factor for me was that alhamdulillah my family is very community oriented. So that is also something that I latched onto very, very, very quickly. And I also think that for us as individuals, in terms of, I would say us that's living in this generation, right? We as Muslims have access to things that our parents didn't have access to. And as a result, we were given more of a head start in life generally. And it's important for us to understand the footing that we got and give back in that regard. So that is my main motivating factor, I guess, to initiating this organization and being part of this organization.
Okay. Saajida?
I think for me, like when I was young, I wasn't a part of a lot of organizations, or I didn't do any extracurriculars. So when I came to university for the first time, I think that was when I was introduced to different Muslim student associations and things like that. It kept me motivated during my studies. So it gives you that push to actually do better and do more, and it makes you realize that you're actually capable of doing much more than you think. So I became addicted to being part of anything that just kept me going. That was obviously my main reason is doing it for the sake of Allah, but you have to have that besides your main work, if I can call it that, have that different on the outside that just gives you different purpose and.
Okay, so I'm just going to chip in here. What they're not mentioning is that both of them are actually master students. And Mariyam is a natural doctor. She works as well. They were both studying and in hectic stuff. So, because I was waiting and I was listening to that. So I just wanted to ask, how do you guys, balance that with, with the extra, with this that you're doing as well? Because if you think about it, New Muslims is a full-time thing. It's not like it's part of the day that you can offer the support. It's a full-time thing. So how do you balance both of those things?
I think for me, I always try and squeeze in as much things as possible into my day. Because you are capable of much more than you think you are. So you have to make use of your time well. You have to be productive. You have to plan properly. You basically have to plan it properly. I think that's a big one. And we necessarily aren't the ones that are constantly in contact with the new Muslims. We would have different mentors and obviously extra people helping in that sense. So it's nice, but you have your one or two people that you speak to.
I think for me, if there's one thing that I can honestly say, and I would advise anyone to work in an organization, not for any other reason, but I feel personally it puts a lot of value on your time. You might not realize that you actually had the time to do it, but you do. And once you cut out things like, once you cut out the things that waste your time, and many times people don't realize watching TV wastes your time.
Absolutely.
It actually really does. Even with me personally, the moment I cut out things that were sins, just general sins that we in this generation generally commit, like listening to music, watching TV excessively, just lounging about and just doing nothing, playing games, blah, 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 all of those things. Once you cut those things out, you actually have a large amount of time to do something constructive. That's the first thing. Allah SWT puts a lot of barakah in your time if you dedicate your time to helping people, right? The second thing is that there's always a saying that if you want something done, give it to a busy person. And I can really say that is very true. Because many times people ask me, how do I juggle? And I myself don't know how I juggle. but like I just get things done. I don't know how. And it's like a little voice says, you must still do this. I'm like, oh yes, I still do this. And then I do it. But the one thing that really helps me is that the moment I remember I must do it, I do it. I don't hesitate and wait to do it tomorrow or something like that. And that places a lot of baraka in your time. Alhamdulillah.
Do you have any question? Hamid, anything on else?
So it's just the two of you?
No.
No.
Okay.
Definitely not.
Tell us more about your team, how you coordinate that.
Okay, so Mariyam is the chairperson, I'm the vice chairperson. We're very good friends. We're basically old friends that came together, and we nominated amongst ourselves which portfolios would go to which based on your strengths and your weaknesses, what you prefer doing. So there is a head of mentorship for female, a head of mentorship for males, there's a finance portfolio, there's a events portfolio, and then we've got a public outreach as well. As far as that, did I get them all?
We also would like to start up an outreach portfolio as well. And there's 2 vices, it's not just one. So, and there's administrators.
Okay.
So, alhamdulillah, there's a nice big group of individuals, and we always open to people that would like to be mentors, because that is basically the individuals that's going to do that they're going to have the impact, the most impact, because they're going to have direct contact time with the
So,
students.
are you actively looking for an outreach person at the moment?
We currently do have one.
Oh, okay.
We might be looking for a male outreach person.
But we're always looking for people to help each
Yes.
Okay. So how do people get into contact with you? If they're not us?
Our number is on our poster, but I don't have our number is on our poster.
Okay.
And that is a general number that anyone
Okay.
can contact that number, and that is designated for Ansarul Mu'min.
And you guys have social media? People
Yes.
can message you on Instagram, I saw.
Email, Instagram, Facebook as well.
Okay. Okay, so what has been, for everyone watching, just to get an idea of like what you actually do. So let's just get into that. What is it? Because I mean the idea sounds beautiful. It's a platform for new Muslims. So what is it that you actually do in the organization? Practically, how do you help new Muslims?
Okay, so like we said, the mentorship portfolio would be our main portfolio. So we put a lot of focus on that portfolio, and a lot of our events are planned around what the mentors and the mentorship portfolio does. So what we're planning to do is have monthly events, so we will have regular social events. We would invite new Muslims to the event where they can socialize, they meet new other Muslims, they make friends, they network. And in that way we can then also assign a mentor to a new Muslim who would like one, and that person will be designated to a specific person, and they will stay in contact with them. They will update us on how the person is doing. Basically be their friend.
Like a buddy system.
Yeah,
Yes,
like a buddy
Yeah.
system.
That's cool.
Like a buddy system.
And why is it so important for new Muslims to actually have this kind of social support?
I think, look, many times we don't realize that they give up so much. It's from a perspective of, in our day and age, it's a social hijrah that they're making actually. And when they make the social hijrah, they leave behind an entire family sometimes, an entire social circle sometimes. And even though you would maybe see them at an event or at the masjid, but then you go home to your family and they go home alone. And that is why I think it's very, very important that you actually engage with them, because yes, they have embraced Islam, but they haven't. They still need to build on the iman, right? And if you look at in terms of historically, you will find that Allah SWT didn't reveal Salah first, Zakah first, all of these obligations. For the bulk of Nabi Sallallahu prophethood, it was just Nabi Sallallahu working on the Sahaba's iman, right? And so it's important for us to realize that they are in that space. You need to work on the iman, and they need to have contact time from a social perspective, they need to have contact time with other Muslims so that they can understand the lifestyle, because Islam is not just a religion, it's a way of life, and they're adopting a new way of life. So everything has to change. We, alhamdulillah, we're born Muslims, we don't even realize all of the things that we go through and the things that we just naturally do. And I'm not even speaking about salah. I'm speaking about just, you know, the dua before you go to the bathroom. You know that you must dress up from your right hand side. You know, all of these things. Halal food. You know, all of these things. So if you actually have a friend there holding your hand or supporting you in that way, chances are that you won't slip that far down. If you are going to slip, you'll slip a little and then the person will have to pull you back. So I think it's very important for at least for the first 5 years even, for that person to have someone there, even if they embraced Islam and they got married immediately. It doesn't mean that they have a social support structure within that marriage even. Right? So because sometimes people are married and specifically speaking about Muslims, but they are the loneliest as opposed to those people that they embraced Islam and then they have this wide social circle and they're just moving about. So you can never really tell who really needs the assistance in terms of just being a friend. So that I think it's very important for us to make that social hijrah of them a peaceful one, a one that they enjoy, a one that they can actually turn to and say, you know what, even though it is challenging to do A, B and C, but I see the benefit in it because I actually have someone there by my side.
I think it's very interesting what you said earlier. There's a lot of truth in Saajida. Is you guys spoke about, we make this big deal when someone becomes Muslim, everyone comes to mosque, whatever it is, but the real hard work actually starts afterwards. Yeah. What has been for you guys, I mean you can answer individually, but in this journey and with Ansarul and working, or with your journey working with new Muslims, what has been one of the, if you could choose, one of the best kind of, I want to say, they're all success stories obviously, but what has stood out for you most? Yeah.
What stood out for me most was, I think she's part of the committee. I won't mention her name, but she knows who she is. She's part of the committee. And from the first time we met her, subhanAllah, she was just this vibrant, beautiful soul. And I've watched her grow so beautifully within the context of being a Muslim. And I've seen her struggles, I've seen her challenges, and I've seen how she's thrived over those challenges. So for me, it's so inspirational to just watch her be, you know? Because if you were to put yourself in that shoes, hypothetically, you leaving your family, you leaving your religion, and you moving to a completely different lifestyle, what would you be doing? How would you be reacting to that? Would you be able to cope in such a social environment? And so we don't even realize how difficult that social hijrah actually is, because we're not in that situation. And even something as simple as Christmas, we don't think anything of it, but it's difficult for them because the traditions around Christmas, they're so used to that. It's ingrained in them. The way they dressed, the foods they ate, all of these things. And you have to understand that your muscles have memory. You have memories of these things, and you have good memories of them because it's your family, it's your friends, it's people you knew. So for you to actually take that leap of faith and denounce all of that simply because you believe something that your family might not believe, that is a big, big thing to do. And so alhamdulillah, I've seen her flourish, that's a good word, bloom. And that to me is very inspirational, alhamdulillah.
I was going to say something similar to Mariyam, also on the same person. For me, it's also seeing someone that you saw from the beginning and see them actually grow so beautifully, mashallah. and then actually be able to help the next person with their experience and how they learned from it. So she, like you see, she's part of the organization now, and she's helping other new Muslims. So she's now at a position where she feels, okay, now she's ready to help the next person. So imagine we could do that to all new Muslims, where they feel like they can help the next person, and we're all just helping each other grow in that sense.
So, I mean, I take it that some new Muslims need more help than others, just based on their personality and how they are mentally. So, what would your approach be to someone who's struggling, a new Muslim who's struggling? What typically would you do, and how would you go about it?
Okay, so there are, how can I say, limitations to what we do. So we are not ulama, for instance.
Okay.
So we don't teach them we can teach them the basics of Islam, but we cannot, for instance, if we don't know something, we will refer them. So there is a lot of referral with regards to classes and things like that. When it comes to socially challenging, a lot of people think that we offer financial assistance, which we also don't offer financial assistance or accommodation or things like that. We really try and help them, we spread the word, and sometimes we do tend to help them often. But we really do more like social. So we choose mentors that are mentally strong, that are able to assist the next person who won't be as strong in that moment. And yeah, you can identify at some point where you can see, okay, no, I'm not able to help this person any further, I should refer them now. But we try our best to help them in that way.
And also I think that how we do set it up is that it's not just one mentor per mentee, for lack of a better analogy. Because sometimes even in your friendships, let's just look at it from that perspective. Sometimes you need the friendship of a certain individual at a certain time, and then sometimes you need the friendship of another individual at a different time. And so, with that being said, the social events that we have creates a platform where everyone can interact with everyone. Everyone can exchange numbers, be friends. It's not a matter of if one person is one person's mentor, nobody else can be. Understand?
So these social events is like a braai or coffee?
It can be anything.
It can be anything.
Okay.
We've had a wide range of different types of events. So
so you guys spoke about, so I know most of the time we come across like the situation of a young person now embracing Islam, and then the parents are from, they're not Muslim or whatever like that. So have you had any situation where it's reversed with the person and they have kids who are non-Muslim, and how would you actually approach a situation like that?
I think there was one situation where the mother embraced Islam, but the children had not yet embraced Islam. So they were inclined to it, but because they were of age in terms of in their teens, it wasn't something that the mother could strongly suggest, for lack of a better analogy. Because if a child is smaller in terms of younger than 10, you still have more influence over that child in terms of the decisions that they make. But once the child becomes older than 15, you as a parent have to step away and say, you need to make your own independent decisions. So there was one female, alhamdulillah, she embraced Islam, but her son had not yet embraced Islam, but he had a strong inclination towards it because he had seen how Islam had changed his mother for the better. She wasn't doing the things that she used to do, and surprisingly it was a white lady. So many times we don't even realize that there's a huge impact that Islam is actually making in the northern suburbs, right? And with that being said, there's a lot of individuals within those communities that are strongly inclined to Islam, especially those individuals that practice Judo Christianity. I don't know if you are familiar with. So
you can.
I don't know.
I have no idea.
Okay. So basically, in terms of like just as a general overview of Christianity, you'll find that there is people that practice Pauline Christianity and people that practice Judeo-Christianity, right? So Judeo-Christianity is more based on the Old Testament. So it's based on Torah and the Zabur and all of the old scriptures, right? So they will be more inclined to the Ten Commandments, and they will be more firmly based in not drinking, not eating pork, and, right? So closer to Jews.
Okay. Oh, I understand
Right?
the name.
Then you get Pauline Christianity. But Pauline Christianity had over time broken down into all the different denominations that you find today. So they are more for the New Testament. And they are more inclined to the concept of the crucifixion and Jesus, the Son of God, and all of those concepts, right? So you'll find that individuals that are more based in Judeo-Christianity, they are the ones that are navigating or being drawn to Islam, because it's very similar to what they actually believe, and because it's not a big jump for them. They don't have to give up so many things, right? And you will find that even if you speak into certain individuals, just generally Christians, born Christians, let's say, they might not necessarily be or would like to ascribe themselves to Christianity now, but when you speak to them, you will find that they themselves are neither here nor there. They're neither here nor there because they, in terms of Christianity, they don't agree with the preachings of the church. Whether you're speaking about Christianity in terms of Old Apostolic, that's very staunch, or we're speaking about Seventh-day Adventists, that's also very staunch, and Jehovah's Witnesses, and so on and so forth, but they don't agree with that. So they don't want to describe themselves as Christian, but they don't want to describe themselves as anything else, because Islam is, in their perception, rigid almost. They maybe have a very negative connotation to what Islam is, because Islam almost kind of, I won't say forces them, but it suggests the concept of discipline that they don't really want to fall into, because it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's seen as a list of do's and don'ts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So those are those individuals, they sit on the fence. So it's very interesting to just have those conversations with those different individuals, because they are the ones that if you were to present Islam to them from the perspective of showing them that Islam isn't actually rigid, it's very liberal, they are more inclined to actually embrace Islam, inshallah.
So just to kind of change the where we're at. Khalil actually wanted to ask this question.
Cover.
Okay, do you have either of you have a favorite ayah, surah, or story or anything? Quranic.
I think for me with the Quran, it actually changes over time. Like over different periods of my life, I've had different favorite ayahs. At the moment, mine is the second ayah of Surah Baqarah. It's actually on my bio on Instagram. It says, "This is the book about which there is no doubt, a guide for those who are conscious of Allah." So, one, it says that it's a book of no doubt, which means that you have no doubt about the Quran and you can move further knowing that you are sure about what you are doing. And then secondly, Allah says that if you are conscious of Allah, you will be guided. So as long as you remain conscious and you remember Allah and everything that you do, you will be guided and you will see it yourself in many different ways with the mercy of Allah. So that's my favorite Quranic ayah at the moment.
Beautiful.
I think for me, in terms of contextually, one of my favorite stories in the Quran is the children of the cave. I absolutely love that story in relation to Ansarul movement, as because I feel that story speaks so loudly and so clearly to the organization, and in terms of contextually, it gives you an idea as to what previous generations actually went through just to hold on to the Iman. We're living in a day and age where, subhanAllah, it's difficult. It's very, very, very difficult to just be Muslim. Just be Muslim, not even doing something extra. And if it's difficult for us that's born Muslim, how difficult is it not for you?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So that story is one of my favorite stories.
We are a bit tight for time because it is Sedima to Mariyam. What are actually some of the challenges that you guys have faced within the organization? Maybe that other people who are watching can assist with, or just generally what are kind of some of the challenges we face?
We actually have a challenge with getting in contact with new Muslims. So it's not easy knowing where they are or who they are or where we can find them. So what we would do is we would have a social event and just open it up to everyone, and we would maybe have maybe 2 or 3 out of 10 actually being new Muslims. So they are very few. So I think in the sense of getting in contact with them is a challenge.
Okay. I think another challenge for us is, alhamdulillah, in the bigger scheme of things, we're very young.
Young as an organization or individuals?
Both. As an organization, alhamdulillah, we launched in December, which means that technically we're only 2 months old.
Okay.
Very, very young.
But you've been working with new Muslims for quite some time.
Yes, alhamdulillah, we've been. So, with that being said, structurally we're trying to get everything put in place in terms of if anyone can assist with whatever you can assist. Alhamdulillah, we are open to anything. Even from a financial perspective, if you can assist, alhamdulillah, we're open to anything and everything. But mainly we would want, as Saajida said, contact time with the new Muslims, especially males. We have, alhamdulillah, a very nice big group of females, but males from a social perspective are not very sociable, and our worry is that males are not actually getting that social support. So that is a big worry for us, and so males is the bigger concern as opposed to females, but generally just getting in contact with them. And if they would like to get in contact with us, please do. We will more than welcome you into the organization, and we would love to assist you, inshallah.
Okay, so we're gonna
tell us about your last question. Tell us about your event next month.
So we decided upon an event simply because we decided upon this event simply because it's very close to Ramadan, and people need to spiritually prepare for Ramadan. So the event is for females only, unfortunately, and there's 2 speakers. The first speaker is Mariyam Arifin, and she will be speaking about the 5 prominent females in Islam. So speaking about Sayyidina Khadija, Sayyidina Mariyam, and so on and so forth. So the 5. And then myself is the second speaker, and I will be speaking about finding ease within difficulty. The reason for the two different, it seems as if the topics are unrelated, but it's not, in the sense that we would like to discuss how females in the past have dealt with their difficulties, right? How they managed social issues, right? Because each one of those females was in a very different social issue individually. So discussing the ideal in terms of they were the best of creation, how they dealt with the difficulties, and then contextualizing that in terms of how we in this generation can deal with our difficulties, so finding ease within our difficulty.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Where is the event? Did you give us
Oh, no, details. So the event is going to be in around the Flame Masjid, Masjid Al-Khair. It's going to be on the 7th of March, The 7th
7th
of
of March.
Yes. The 7th of March.
It's a Saturday, yeah?
Yes, it's a Saturday morning. We're starting at 10:30, and then we're going to run the program up until the word inshallah.
So anyway, all ladies are welcome.
Yes, all ladies are welcome, and it's a free event. We try our best to make sure that we're going to try our best to make sure that all events are free, because we don't want anyone left behind, and we want everyone to have equal access to any one of our events, inshallah. Okay.
So, just as a final question and final word, if this was the final message you could give ever in your life, yeah, last words ever, and you were told now, what do those words be?
Saajida.
My words would be to make sure that you use your time properly. So always be aware of what you are doing in your space, in your time. Always be present and not just go through life doing mundane everyday things. So you have to be motivated in some way, and you have to be like I say, Allah places the barakah in your time. So if you choose to do the right things, then you'll have lots of barakah in your time, and alhamdulillah have a fruitful life, as much free time as you have on the dunya.
I think the message that I would like, that's my last message. Oh God, but the one message that I think is very important for me personally is to maintain a pure heart. That I think is very, very important. And me, like us as females, I speak about from my personally, us as females, we don't even realize that because we're emotional beings, we make decisions with our hearts, and we don't realize that we entertain diseases in our hearts that actually bring us down. Whether it is something as simple as jealousy, envy, anger, there's a whole list of them. Well, everyone has something, and everyone will be inclined to some disease, because we all have a weakness. It's almost as if, if you were to compare to the body, every person's body has a system or organ that is weak. So likewise, within the context of your heart, spiritually, you will have a weakness towards a certain emotion, a negative emotion, or a disease, spiritual disease. So if you as an individual can actually sit down with yourself and say, you know what, my weakness is A, B, and C, and that is what I'm going to focus on. That is what I'm going to work at. And once you make that conscious decision of actively focusing on that one disease, or the 2 or 3 or 5 or 10, you never know. Everyone is different. But you focus on that, you will come to find that the more you cleanse your heart and actively sit at night and forgive people, actively sit at night and just rid your heart of any diseases, you will come to find that your life will be so, so peaceful. Because many a times, and I think I would even go as far as saying that all the time, the problem is not actually the problem. The problem is your attitude about the problem. That's the problem. And that is the problem.
Yes.
Because you find 2 individuals, they have the same issue, but they respond to it so differently. Why? And so, from a female's perspective, we as females, we are the mothers, we are the nurturers, we are the ones that literally lay down the foundation for our community. We ourselves can initiate the process where we cleanse our hearts and we keep it clean. It's not a process of, I'm going to do it now, then it's done. Your house, you have to clean it all the time. It gets dirty. So, cleanse your heart, and you will come to find that Allah will place barakah, peace, contentment, and just all of these amazing, even if you're in your difficulty, you will find that ease. So that is my message that I'll give to everyone.
Shukran so much for your time, and all the success for Ansarul and for each of you. It's very nice to see you guys. And is it off for you today? Okay, I was going to say I was going to direct him to their page, but now I can't.